This is the best area to stay in Paris, and this is the worst one. And they're only 5 minutes away from each other. I'm French, I live in Paris, and I'm gonna tell you about my favorite areas that only locals know about, and also a few areas that I would personally never go to. The first one is the touristy part of Montmartre. So you probably already know about the Sacré-Cœur. Montmartre is obviously totally fine to visit, especially late at night, there's no one there. It is very romantic and you do feel like you're in the movie Midnight in Paris. But I would personally never stay there because there's way too many tourists during the day and it tends to attract shady people. One part of Montmartre people don't know about though, and that I really recommend you stay in, is the area just north of Montmartre, about a 10-minute walk away from the Sacré-Cœur, around the Lamarck metro station. And this has to be one of the coolest and most underrated neighborhoods to stay in, which is also typically Parisian. So this is an area where actual locals go to and live in, and it is really beautiful with the typical Montmartre staircases, especially around the metro station. There's also the Montmartre Vineyard nearby, which I personally find really cute, and there's also so many really good food shops and little neighborhood bars. Then number 6 in the list of neighborhoods to avoid, and one of my personal least favorite neighborhoods in Paris, that's a bit controversial, is this exact area located in the Latin Quarter. So you've probably read about it in like all the guides, and maybe it used to be cool, but not during my lifetime, that's for sure. I feel the restaurants in this little corner of Paris are so bad, and they're just really overpriced. What I'm saying is that you'll have a more authentic French experience at the Ratatouille ride at Disney than in this neighborhood. Instead, just take a short walk to this area around the Odéon and Mabillon metro stations. It's the area around the Jardin de Luxembourg, which is one of my favorite parks. It is so beautiful, so relaxing, and I really enjoy spending time there, like reading a book or having a picnic. There's also a really cool champagne shop nearby that I really recommend, and if you want to have a picnic with champagne, they do sell cold bottles to go. And as you can see, this neighborhood is a tiny bit more upscale. There's a lot of really good Michelin star restaurants in the area, and I like that it's close to everything without the craziness. And number 5 in areas to avoid is the area around the train stations, especially Gare du Nord and Gare de l'Est. And I'm making a big generalization here, but usually the areas around train stations in Europe tend to be a bit on the shadier side. There's a lot of scams like fake taxis, and if you want to be in a well-connected central area, that's also really cool. I recommend you stay in South Pigalle, 5th best area to stay in my personal opinion. So South Pigalle used to be the red light district, but don't let that scare you. This was a long time ago, and even though, you know, there's obvious remnants of this area, now it's just a really cool and trendy neighborhood that has so many different restaurants and bars for every budget. And if you're looking for a good cheap one, I recommend Bouillon Pigalle, which we went to with Bobby in a past video. They have really good typical French food for a really cheap price. Then this area is also nice if you like going out. There's so many clubs and cool cocktail bars, but it's also nice if you are someone who is really chill and would rather sit at a cafe with a book. The one I recommend is the Café of the Museum of Romantic Life, le Musée de la Vie Romantique. It is indeed very romantic. They have a really cute courtyard with a lot of flowers and nice little tables, and it's really nice to spend the afternoon there. Also, if you stay here, as I was telling you, it's super well connected and you can easily walk to all the other parts of Paris. Then an area I wouldn't recommend is Stalingrad. So around this metro station, it used to be really nice a while back. If you come from a big city like New York or LA, you will feel totally fine there. Actually, one of my good friends lived in the area and I've walked alone at night there many times and I've felt pretty safe. But if you're not used to big city life, it might feel a bit unsafe to you. So what I recommend instead is that you go a bit more south to the area around the Canal Saint-Martin. This is really one of my favorite areas too. I used to live right by the canal. A lot of my favorite bakeries are there, especially this one, Du Pain à des Idées. It's so good. I used to live around there as a student and I spent so much money there. But there's so many other cool wine bar, brunch spots, cafes. Also, if it's sunny, I really recommend you do what we call an apéro. You just take a bottle of wine, a few cheeses. You can buy that at any wine shop near the canal and then sit by the canal and just have a drink there. It's not only very fun, but it's also legal in France to drink in public. And this area also has the best walks. You can just walk all the way down from the canal to the Seine River, or if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you could walk all the way up. Also, you'll be just a short metro ride away from all the train stations to go to other European countries. And if you're planning on visiting those places, you should check out today's sponsor, Klook. Klook is a website where you can book experiences in thousands of destinations around the world, including Paris and other of my favorite destinations in Europe, like the UK. So I've lived in London and I really recommend going there. But my favorite place in the UK has to be Scotland. Last year, I took one of the most beautiful train rides of my life there. So you've probably seen this train ride in the Harry Potter movies, but it's actually a bit of a hard trip to plan since there are just so many stops to choose from. With Klook, you can save hours of planning and you can book this experience and many others directly on their website. At the moment, they are running a special offer with exclusive deals for different destinations every week. For example, you can get up to 50% off of your UK activities if you book between the 15th and the 21st of May. Plus, you'll get an additional discount if you book using my promo code. And literally a short walk away from the Canal Saint-Martin is another area I don't recommend you to stay in, which is the Republic area. It's a perfectly fine area, it's really nice, nothing is wrong with it, but it is the hotspot for protests in France, so it tends to get super crazy. When I was living in this area, I used to go by Republic a lot and it was insane. You can easily have your metro blocked, there's sometimes people being violent and throwing stuff at each other, and I would not recommend staying there if you can. Instead, just go a bit more south, and as you can see, all these areas are very close to each other, so it's really easy to stay in an area that's not right for you. So just go a bit more south and stay in the north of the Marais neighborhood. This is an area I really recommend for you. Le Marais neighborhood is already known to tourists, it's in all the guides, there's the famous Place des Vosges, but the north of this area is really cool because it's actually more local while being super close to the action. It's an area where a lot of people go shopping. I personally really like going to this shoe shop called Bobby's, but there's many others like thrift shops and other different French brands. Also, it's such a great place to stay if you enjoy walking everywhere and also if you love history. There's so many museums in the area, there's beautiful old buildings. If you stay there, you have to check out Marché des Enfants Rouges. It's a super cute market that's not a hidden gem, but that I really like. And there's a lot of different food stands and it has a really cool and lively atmosphere. And I personally often bring people there when they're visiting. There's also this really cool truffle restaurant called Artisan de la Truffe that has very well priced and delicious lunch menus. Also, if you stay in this area, you'll feel like you're in the center of everything. You can, for example, go to Notre Dame in 20 minutes, go to the Canal Saint-Martin in 15, and pretty much walk anywhere you want. Which brings me to number 2 in my list of worst areas to stay in, which is the overall outskirts of Paris. So if you're thinking of staying really far away to save money, I personally don't think it's a good idea because first of all, you won't be in Paris and you'll miss out on all the really cool walks and really cute streets, but also there's really long travel times from the outskirts. And if you want to check out a cheaper neighborhood, I recommend you stay in my second favorite area to stay in Paris, which is Belleville. Belleville is not only one of my favorite neighborhoods to stay in, but also one where many visitors never go to. From an outside perspective, I understand that it looks a tiny bit messy, but it does feel like a true community. And a few people who watched the channel and stayed in Belleville told me they really love it, so don't just take my word for it. It is a really cool place. It also has such an interesting history because it is a traditional working class French neighborhood with a unique culture, but also it has been an immigrant neighborhood for around 200 years. So there's many different cultures there, and you'll find delicious food from places like China, Vietnam, Morocco, Tunisia, along with traditional French bars, and also quite a few trendy spots because the neighborhood has been rapidly gentrifying over the past few years. Also, walking in Belleville is really fun because there's a lot of cool street art and galleries, and there's also my favorite view of the Eiffel Tower ever. So if you go at the top of the park of Belleville, you have a really nice view over all of Paris, and especially of the Eiffel Tower far away in the distance. And the best thing is, no one knows about it, so there's very few people there. Okay, now we're arriving at my least favorite neighborhood, followed by my favorite neighborhood. So my least favorite neighborhood to stay in that I see in all the guides is the Champs-Élysées area. I personally always avoid this area. It is too busy, the shopping is way better in Le Marais, and the shops you can find there, you can find them at home. You can go to the Gap, like where you live. Also, there's a lot of offices around, and the local life there is not the best in my opinion. One place where the local life is really cool is my favorite area to stay in Paris, which is the Batignolles neighborhood. So if you're a regular here, I've talked about it before, I live in Batignolles. It is, in my opinion, the best area to stay in, and I've met a few of you in the street who took my advice and stayed there and really loved it. It actually used to be a countryside village back in the day, and it was absorbed by Paris in the middle of the 19th century, and I do feel that there's still a village vibe. There's a lot of really cute streets and buildings, beautiful old shops, a really nice park where I love to go to, and there's also a lot of cool food options with a market said, a lot of different restaurants that you can see in my other videos. And I feel it's a neighborhood for everyone. And I really love that. There's people from all ages, from little kids with their families to students and couples. And there's not only French people here, you can hear a lot of different languages being spoken in the streets. I personally really love living there because I feel everyone is welcome in this area. Also, it's a very hidden gem. Not a lot of people know about it. And that's what to me makes it the best area to stay in when you're coming to Paris. And that's all for me today. And I'll think I see you in one of these 2 videos that are on screen. So click on one of these. See you soon.